Hello and welcome to my space here. I'm Ashley, and today I'm going to switch it up. This is going to be my first time doing this, but I'm going to be doing an angel reading. So I'll be doing those every other week. So I'll go between angel readings and relationship readings. And I found I just love the angel support. And honestly, without my angels, without that connection to my angels and to my guides and to like that spiritual aspect of myself and my emotions, I wouldn't even be able to be in a relationship because the angels have helped me heal my abandonment wounds. They help me heal my neglect wounds. They help me heal my betrayal wounds. They help me heal my self-esteem. They help me heal my self-image. They help me heal my body, obviously, and they help heal my mind. So they help heal my heart. So without them, I would struggle to be in a relationship because my wounds would constantly be triggered. But I work closely, so I work with the archangels. It's kind of fun because they're like the Power Rangers, but a little different. So I'm going to kind of just channel their energy. I channel Archangel Michael a lot, just because he's helped me heal my inner child. That's another thing they've helped me heal. And also Archangel Raphael, because those are the two that I channel, and Archangel Raphael is a healer. I also consider myself a healer. And so, yeah, and he helps me really keep my heart open, and then Archangel Michael helps me really stay grounded to the earth so that I feel really safe in order to receive love, because I've had a lot of pain associated with love, and this actually, these wounds happened in childhood, and they form our beliefs. And so then when we are an adult and we're searching for relationships, or we're wanting an intimate relationship, these beliefs and these wounds, they really affect our intimate relationships. And even if we really want closeness and we really want that deep love with another, if we've been hurt by love, especially if we've been abandoned, and this isn't just physically abandoned by a parent that maybe left or died, or that sort of abandonment, or just, you were up for it, like you've been adopted. There's also emotional abandonment, and that's something that I've had a lot of experience with, because I've been going through a lot of things where I don't feel like my sadness or my tears are lovable, and this is because of a childhood wound, or I feel like my anger isn't allowed to be expressed because it's not ladylike. These are childhood woundings, and these are also societal beliefs. So it's not just because my parents raised me this way, it's also because their parents raised them that way, and the generation before that. So it's really looking at society as a whole, but all I can share with you are the experiences I've had. So I'll kind of go along and kind of share what we get here. So I'm going to go ahead, this will be an angel reading. It's important to set your intention. Go ahead and ask your angels or your guides. You can ask aloud, or you can ask in your mind. Just say, you can ask, I intend that whatever message is meant to reach you at this time will reach you. Whenever this message reaches you, it's meant for you. So don't put a timing on it. Don't do anything with that. Also, it's really important to remember with my readings that gender does not apply with anything. There's a masculine and feminine energy within both of us, and this is really helpful to help you heal your masculine and feminine energy, so your mother wound and your father wound, which really help to balance your own energies. And then you call in love that is balanced. Whereas if you have a very strong father wound, you're probably going to attract a man that has that wound that you have towards your father. So like an abandonment wound or betrayal, like if your father cheated in the home and you watched him cheat, you'll probably attract a man that may cheat on you, just because it's a belief that you watched growing up, and you have this belief, oh, men cheat, men only cheat, or maybe you believe that they lie, or whatever it is for you. Or if you had a father that had was emotionally unavailable. That was me. My father was emotionally unavailable, so I attracted men generally that were emotionally unavailable. And I tried so hard, and I always thought it had something to do with me. I'm like, oh, I'm unlovable, like I'm unworthy. But what I had to do, and what my angels have helped me do, is to see that I'm never truly alone, that my worth doesn't come from outside of me, that I can still love people and not depend on their love in order to feel love, that I can generate the feeling of love all on my own, that I can access the frequency of love just with my thoughts and with my emotions. And as I think more about the energy of love, I embody it more. And so what I've really had to do is, as I think about it more, it really begins to shift my nervous system. So the longer I stay in the energy of love, the more relaxed, the more calm I feel. And this has helped heal like my hypervigilance or my anxious attachment. I have deep attachment wounds, especially towards my father, and towards my mother, actually towards my entire family. I come from a very dysfunctional family, just very codependent in that sense, where it's there was not strong boundaries, and our emotions were projected onto each other, and there's been a lot of hurt but there's also been like a lot of love. And so this has been really conflicting to me, especially growing up as a child who was highly sensitive, like recognizing the energy around me and being able to not take it on. Like being a highly sensitive person and learning how to have boundaries has been probably the hardest thing. My angels have also helped me with creating boundaries. Basically what they'll do is they'll give me advice, and their advice is always going to be positive. They're never going to try to drag you down. They're never going to try to like punish you or make you feel bad about yourself. They're always going to give you the most uplifting energy. They're always going to make you feel good about yourself. So when you're having those moments of like a lot of self-doubt, and you have a lot of doubt, or if you're like in victim consciousness, they also help me heal victim consciousness. They help me heal poverty consciousness. So it's really important to develop your relationship with your spiritual aspect of yourself before you go out trying to search. And honestly, women, it's not their job to go out searching for men. It's their job to work on themselves and heighten their vibration and create a space within themselves. I mean, like an energetic space. So you're creating this space within you, and then that well can be filled. One, by God and your own love. It fills you, and then you're able to pour out to everybody else without feeling depleted, because your source is coming from something that's unlimited. It's not coming from a person, it's not coming from a child, it's not coming from a job, it's not coming from your bank account, it's coming from you. Because at the core of who you are love. So every time you feel like love is outside of you, or you feel like there's not enough love, or nobody loves you, you have to learn to go within yourself and create the energy of love within yourself. And that can be really challenging, because we want to look to the outside, especially if we've come from codependent families, where it's like we were only loved if we were like behaving in a certain way, or like sometimes a lot of our times our emotions were rejected. So this can cause a rejection wound. So we might constantly be rejected by like the people we truly like, or these people that we're trying to pursue. We might be rejected by them because unconsciously we're rejecting ourselves before we can actually even be rejected, because what we want is intimacy, but what we fear most is intimacy. And so like being close to someone and showing and revealing our true self to them and being super vulnerable with them really creates a lot of fear in our mind. And so what a lot of people do, and what I know that I've noticed that I do, is create conflict in order to sabotage. It's like self-sabotage in order to sabotage the closeness. So as much as you want the closeness, you might create conflict. Like you might be really petty or come up with stupid fights just as a way to like bicker in order to not be really close. And I've watched myself do this very frequently just because it's a learned behavior. What you have to do is learn how to be compassionate with yourself and love yourself and see like, okay, I see that this is coming from, I learned this from my parents. I see where this is coming from and I can do better. Like, and then you have to change, your habits. You have to change the way that you, instead of reacting, going within, being with your angels, going to that time when you're feeling maybe neglected. Let's say you're in a relationship and your wound gets triggered and you're feeling neglected or you're feeling abandoned. Instead of reacting and trying to push away the closeness and the intimacy, by starting a fight or by avoiding, by running away. A lot of people will work a shit ton, especially if they have like an avoidance. They'll work and work and work, and they'll tell themselves, like, I'm doing this because I'm supposed to be providing, and they'll give them this martyr mentality. But really what they're doing is avoiding intimacy at all costs. They're avoiding closeness, they're avoiding relationships, even though if that might be what they desire, but maybe they learn to do this from their parents. Maybe their dad, used work as a distraction to not be part of the family unit, to not be part of the relationship, because really the father was actually unhappy. So then the child, especially a son, if a son watched this, then he will follow in his father's footsteps because he learned how to be a man from watching his father. And here's the thing is, you don't learn by being told what to do. You learn by observing. We're children, and so we mimic. We mimic our caregivers. We learn how to take care of ourselves by the way we watch our parents take care of themselves. So if you're wanting a relationship, take a look at your parents. We're going to start with this. We have the 9 of Pentacles. And I love this energy because this is the opposite energy of codependency. This is like feeling really good on yourself, feeling very appreciative, feeling very grateful, like you're in this garden. It's funny because my healer, when I watch her, she always says this as like her Beyonce card, and now I can never get over that because it's just like feeling yourself, feeling good in your body. You're like, yeah, look at all these pentacles I got. Like, feeling on top of the world. You got this little bird, like just living the dream, basking in all she's grown. This garden is fruitful. She's all on her own. She's single. This is a card of being single. This is a card of like really truly finding yourself. I am hearing and I'm seeing self-esteem. This is also related to the solar plexus chakra. And our solar plexus chakra is very important in order to call in healthy, empowered relationships. This is a card of empowerment, feeling really strong on your own, having a really strong foundation. Now, this isn't going to always look like finances. This is about feeling really stable within yourself, like you've accumulated a lot, like a lot of wisdom, a lot of, strength within yourself. It's just like feeling really good within yourself, feeling like you're able to take care of yourself, self-reliance, and that's something I really struggled with. If you're like a recovering emotional codependent, then this energy is going to be really hard, because there's going to be times when you feel abandoned and you feel alone and you feel neglected, and you have to remind yourself that those are your wounds. And what you have to tell yourself, this is the affirmation I'm getting from Archangel Samuel: I am the light. I am strong. I am powerful. I am valuable. I am worthy. I am successful. And remember, success does not look like what society has taught us. It's not the accumulation of material wealth. It's the accumulation of emotional intelligence, in my opinion. That's success to me is not material gain. It is self-mastery. And so this is really like looking at yourself and like just really tending to your garden. I love, it's like staying focused on your lane. Like you might be wanting to call in a relationship, but Spirit is really saying like, this is a time for you. This is a time for you to flourish. This is a time for you to like bask in your abundance, bask in the light, bask in how much you've accomplished. I'm getting that a lot of you are like only focusing on how much you haven't accomplished or how much you don't have, and this really keeps us in a victim mentality that really keeps what we truly desire away from us. So if we're constantly focusing on what we're lacking, we're going to create more lack. But if we're constant like, oh, I don't have a boyfriend yet, or I don't have a relationship, I don't have a relationship, I don't have a relationship. You can get so fixated on that on the outside, but really it's about cultivating that relationship with yourself. And that's to me what the 9 of Pentacles is about, like having a very abundant relationship with yourself, knowing your worth, like knowing your power, just building a really strong foundation for yourself. And I feel like that's a huge theme for 2020, for me personally. So that could be a theme for a lot of women, just like really, this is like just like a single woman card to me, like, or single man. Remember, gender does not apply. So take this if it resonates. And I also like at the bottom, this card always gets me because there's a little snail. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like things might move a lot slower, because the pentacles also represent the earth energy, and earth energy is kind of slow. It's like, it's just not, things don't materialize as quickly in the physical world as they do in the material or in the spiritual world. So you have to really become patient. This is a card of patience to me, and just like really focusing on yourself. Not in a selfish way, but just self-care. This is a card of self-care to me. It's a card of like sensuality and connecting with your body and grounding to earth, and just, I'm just getting a beautiful energy from this card. I also have roses here, so that's great too. Really great way to connect with your feminine energy. I love her gown that she's wearing here. Like, she's just so luxurious and so like extra, kind of is the word I hear. Like, oh, look at me and this bird. And I actually think this is supposed to be a male, but I don't care. I'm going with a she. So that's what I'm getting there right away. And I'm just going to take these 3 actually, because the next card that flew out with the 9 of Pentacles is the King of Pentacles. And what I was saying is that I think a lot of people are building, like wanting like really strong, stable foundation in the material world. Like they want to climb the ladder, like, and a lot of us have been taught, like I said, that material success is like the ultimate goal. Like we want to build we have a tendency, like I was saying, if we have fears of vulnerability, we will, like, it's easier to like build a mask and like build the outside, like look at my giant big house. This is one thing that I just don't understand with our society, is like people with big houses. Like I don't understand big houses, because if you want more money, spend less on material things, save your money. It's just like have smaller things. And also, in my opinion, with these big houses, it's like if you have a smaller house, you have less to clean, you have more time to spend with your family, you have like less separation. I just think there's less maintenance. It's just crazy to me that people are like, yes, I want a big house. But a lot of people believe that, like, oh, if I have a big house, people won't see how lonely or empty I am inside. Or if I have a nice car, people won't see how, like, unworthy I feel. Or, if I have all these nice clothes, and people can't see beyond how low I feel, or they can't see my low self-esteem. It's like we wear a lot of, like, these material things as a way to mask how we're actually feeling inside, which, a lot of people that have, like, I've been picking up on this intuitively the last few days, but there's lots of people that have money, like they've accumulated a lot of material wealth, a lot of material success, and they still feel empty. They feel like they don't have enough. So this to me is saying, like, this is focusing on your confidence. So Archangel Samuel is coming in really strongly. He's also the archangel of, like, romance too. Like I said, he helps you build your self-esteem. He helps you feel very worthy. I'm also hearing God confidence. So to really find your confidence in God, not from the material realm, but from God. And then you sit on this throne, and then, like, you are filled. I mean, you are fulfilled and fulfilled and fulfilled. And you do generate a lot of material wealth, because you're so connected to God. But you have to connect Him first. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get all this money, then I can relax, and then I can connect to God. No, that's not the way it works. Like, this guy, this is an aspect within us, okay? So you might feel really driven, like, by money, or it's really important, if you do feel like this urge to make a lot of money, to get really clear on your why, to get really clear on, like, to live with integrity. Like, if you're wanting to create a lot of material wealth so that you can give to other people, then that's going to be supported, and that's going to be backed by God. So you'll draw in opportunities that are actually very abundant and very prosperous, because your why is so, like, powerful. It's coming from a place of purity. You're like, I want to make lots of money because I have a mission here, and my mission is to give back to other people. So that manifestation is going to be, supported by spirit, which will then help you be supported in the physical world, and you'll create a lot of stability. The King of Pentacles is very stable. He tends to have a lot of money, but he's also just feels very confident, like I was saying. He feels like, he's supported, and like I was saying, the support doesn't come from externally. Like, you may have all the support, you may have a home, you may have a partner, you may have a job, you may have a stable bank account, you may have a savings account, you may have a car, you may have all these things that make you look stable. But if you don't feel stable within yourself, that's what this is all about. So that you don't have to depend on something on the outside to give you this feeling of confidence, to give you this feeling of stability. Stability comes from within, it doesn't come from without. And as we create it within ourselves, then we actually we begin to manifest it externally. Sometimes this means, like, giving up things that make us feel really comfortable, that make us feel really stable. You might have a loss of money, or you might have a loss of a job, or, you might have a hardship of some sort as your soul's way to show you, hey, stability does not come from outside of you. I still don't feel fulfilled. Can you please do something about this? So you may create those kind of events unconsciously as your soul's way to expand, because your soul does not care about material possessions. Your soul cannot take that with you when you go. So the soul wants wisdom, the soul wants experience, the soul wants emotions, it wants to feel its emotions. It wants to feel connected deeply to God. It wants to reunite with God, so, and these kind of, like I was saying, that's why it's so important to have a relationship with God first, a relationship with your angels first, because then for certain, that God will never abandon you. You know for certain that, so you'll never be abandoned, and that He'll always bring you the highest outcome of all. God to me is not a he or a she. He's not some man that's high above you, that believes, that has so much power over you. Like, that's not God to me at all. God to me is the frequency of love. So, that's what I'm getting here. This is the third card that came out, the Hanged Man. I love the Hanged Man. This is seeing things from a different perspective. This is voluntarily. Voluntarily, he hung himself up here so that he could be enlightened, so that he could see things from a new perspective. So that's what I'm kind of getting there. It's like, I love the Pentacles energy. That's what I'm picking up on. It's like seeing the energy of stability, seeing the energy of God, seeing the energy of love from a different perspective, seeing your wounds, like maybe your childhood wounds from a different perspective, allowing yourself to be enlightened. Maybe your soul is trying to teach you lessons, but you've been neglecting yourself. That's what I'm getting is really important. And as you really nurture yourself, as you really tend to yourself and take care of yourself, you create this, like, unshakable certainty within yourself. You become the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles, like I said, just feels very stable. So if you feel very unstable, you're really just being taught how to, find your strength and how to find your independence. And it's really not about independence. So for me, I was very codependent. And then as I healed my codependency and I was, like, drawn to all these readings and drawn to all this stuff, I became very independent to the point where it's like, I almost didn't want any help at all, where it's like, I can't accept help because if I accept help, then I feel very weak. I have a hard time asking for help. I have a hard time being taken care of because I had to take care of myself, like I've experienced a lot of neglect, and not like I was physically neglected necessarily, but sometimes it was like, if I had a strong emotion, I was just like told to like go to my room. Like I couldn't, my parents just couldn't deal with it. So like that's a form of neglect. And it's like if you feel that way within yourself, it's really important to have human connection, So don't go from like, oh, I'm codependent, and then recognizing all your codependent tendencies on other people. And then you can kind of push them away. I pushed a lot of people away during my healing process. This is normal. You're going to lose people during your healing process. You're going to, because as your vibration changes, you're going to attract new people. So even if you feel like a little bit isolated for a period of time, it's like that is the time for this. That's a time for becoming self-reliant, for like just taking care of yourself and loving yourself like nobody else can. Because that's the issue, is like we get into relationships and we're like, you want that person to love you. Like you've always imagined you should be loved. But nobody ever taught you how to do that for yourself. And so then you become dependent on this person. And then maybe, let's say this person, what if they had to take a break, A lot of relationships these days are like people are glued to each other's hips. They're very codependent, And so space in relationships is great. But what I've noticed is because I have a little bit of an anxious attachment and I have like some betrayal wounds. And so I have a hard time trusting. What I've been taught, especially with Archangel Michael, he teaches you about trust, is how to like, let's say you're separated. And I don't mean like separated, but maybe, I'm going to use this for example. Maybe your partner has to travel for work and maybe you're at home, and you're in a relationship. And when that person leaves and maybe they're gone for like a few days, maybe they're gone for a week, who knows, maybe they could even be gone for a month on a trip. Can you, while they're gone, still take care of yourself, still feel reliant, still feel worthy, still feel loved, still feel like you can take care of yourself? Can you still be this King of Pentacles? Can you still feel confident in yourself? Or does your confidence, does your self-esteem, does that worthiness, does that feeling of love only come from your partner? So, and then when they leave, you're feeling like anxious and you're texting them all the time, or you're hyper vigilant and you're like, they're going to cheat on me, they're going to leave me, they're seeing somebody else, and like you're just freaking out and you're coming up with all these scenarios in your head. That's an anxious attachment wound. That's not probably really happening. That's probably not what's happening unless you're really in an unhealthy relationship. So by like recognizing how you react when you don't have somebody else around you, constantly evoking feelings within you. Like, can you feel on your own without other people? So it's like really taking a look from a higher perspective, allowing yourself to be enlightened. That's what I'm getting there. It's kind of like the advice. And then underneath the deck, I love this, is the Four of Swords. So meditation, taking a step back, observation. I'm hearing the word surrender. So like allowing yourself to rest. You could be like so focused on the material world. I'm kind of getting that for some people because we have the pentacles here. It's like you're so focused on the material world that it's almost, because underneath that is become a burden. Like it's making you feel weighed down. It's making you feel tired. It's like, I'm doing all this work. I'm putting in all this effort and I feel like I'm not getting anything in return. I just feel like I'm carrying around the weight of the world. So it's like, and then after that was the Nine of Wands. So like feeling tired, feeling like you can't possibly go on, needing to persevere, really needing to like dig deep, kind of feeling paranoid, just worn out, just kind of the energy I'm feeling worn out. And that's why it's so important to rest and release these burdens, because you are the King of Pentacles. Could you surrender? This is also the Hangman. Could you surrender to God and be like, God, I'm struggling, like, can you please help me? And like literally giving your worries to him, and then seeing how your confidence changes and how your worries wash away because you're placing them in the hands of higher power. And then but that's the hardest part for people who want to be in control. Like, I want my finances to look a certain way. I want my, I want my life to look a certain way. We have this image in our minds that our life needs to look a certain way, especially based off society, especially based off our wounding and our, and what we saw growing up. It's like you really have to shift your perspective and really like allow yourself to be enlightened and be like, wow, like, and you'll, as you begin to awaken, you'll like, every day this happens to me. I get pissed. I'm so angry at the things that are happening in the world. Like, it's so much easier to avoid. It's so much easier to run away. It's so much easier to numb out and pretend like it's not happening. But it's like, I cannot. Because the things that are happening in the world right now are actually really triggering my inner child wounds. A lot of people, because a majority of the collective feel abandoned, they feel alone, they feel like they're not good enough, they feel like, they don't have enough. And this is a very patriarchal societal belief. And if it was not for my angels and my guides and all my ancestors and my ascended masters, I would feel heartbroken. I would feel alone. I would feel neglected. I would feel betrayed. I would be collapsing with the paradigm right now, because that's what's happening. The paradigm is collapsing. We're seeing beyond these limiting beliefs, and every day you might wake up and you might be pissed, you might be angry, and your anger is just motivation for change, because underneath the Nine of Wands is the Wheel of Fortune. So there's like this desire for change. There's this desire to move in a new direction, and not just like, it feels like collectively, it's like we're ready to move forward, but we're feeling tired, we're feeling exhausted. And it's because we have not incorporated our feminine energy. We have not connected to source so that we feel unlimited, so that we can keep going. Because when you tap into the source, as much as I feel like I have mountains to move. There's so many things I have to do, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting so much time, I'm not doing enough. And that's why they're like, oh, no, you just need to surrender. And take time to meditate, be with God, be with your angels, I'm like, how is that doing anything? We have this idea that I must be doing more, and if I'm not doing more, then I'm just not enough, I'm not good enough. And so we push ourselves to the point of breaking, to the point of exhaustion, to the point of overload, and we're tired and we're burned out. And that's why it's important to connect to source. That's why it's so important to connect with your angels and your guides, because they will comfort you and they make you feel very safe and secure. And then, like I said, then you create that externally in the material world. You become the King of Pentacles. Okay, let's see here. Let's get some oracle cards. I chose these ones. This is Energy Oracle because they have all the archangels in them, so maybe one will pop out. But I really feel Archangel Chamuel here. He makes me feel so confident and like empowered. I just feel strong in his energy, but in the gentlest way, because a lot of us, especially men, they've been taught that their strength comes from pushing, their strength comes from control, that their strength comes from money, that their power comes from money, that their power comes from their sexual energy. King of Pentacles also has a lot of he's used his sexual energy in order to create, because the sexual energy is source energy, it's pure God. So by connecting to that part of you, then you create a lot of confidence. Okay, let's see here. What do we need to know with this Nine of Pentacles? Door to Spirit in reverse. Very interesting. This is also a 5 card, so more about change. I wish you could see these a little bit better. They kind of glare, but Door to Spirit. There's a dove on this card, so that might be important. Or birds. We have a bird there too. But doves represent peace. So there may be this conflicting energy of you're just recognizing this codependency wound. Let's see what else there. Door to Spirit in reverse. Why? Strategy. Also a 3 card. There's a feather on this card. There's a telescope. There's a compass. There's a key there. Okay, so what I'm getting here actually is there's this desire to be more independent and more self-reliant and really tending to yourself. But it's how do I do that? So it's Spirit is giving you a chance to kind of reevaluate and help you come up with a strategy. It feels like as the more you tend to yourself and the more you create self-care, the more you'll be able to actually come up with a strategy. So it's if you are avoiding your emotions at all costs because this door isn't open, if you're too focused on the material world maybe, and you're too focused on gaining finances, or you're too focused on the outside, Spirit is saying you need to do the opposite. You need to go within, and as you go within, this opens the door to Spirit, and it also helps you come up with a strategy so that you can attain your goals. Because the Nine of Pentacles, to me, very goal-oriented woman. I know she's not technically a woman, but take it as it resonates. I'm getting a lot of females wanting to create this abundance on their own. They're pissed, they want to rebel. I've given my power away. For stability, a lot of women have given their power away just to have a home, just to have things provided for them, because they feel they can't do it on their own, because they have low self-esteem, and so they give their power away, and then then they feel powerless, and they feel a victim, and they feel stuck, and they feel trapped, and they want to blame their partner generally. They're this is all your fault, but they don't want to look at themselves and be It's not about blaming yourself. It's about taking initiative and making those changes to tend for yourself and care for yourself so that you feel empowered. And let me tell you, when you feel empowered, you're going to attract a very empowered man who feels very confident, who, treats you with respect and kindness because you've learned how to do that. And so when you learn how to do that, then you're obviously going to attract new relationships that mirror that to you. Okay, so what do you want to tell us here about this King of Pentacles? What is this about here? Okay, Cornucopia in reverse. I like this because it's a very yellow card too, also number 11. Cornucopia is like, this is saying to me that there's just like a delay. It's like you're being given time to reevaluate what it is you truly want, because maybe what you thought you wanted, like maybe you thought you wanted like lots of riches, and maybe you thought you wanted to be famous, maybe you thought you wanted lots of followers, maybe you thought you wanted like this really nice big house and this really nice job with this really nice status and a 401k, and you wanted all those things. That was your idea, you wanted this family and you wanted this perfect relationship, and and it's just not working out the way you wanted to, or it's not happening in the timing that you would like. So it's like I said, learning how to have trust and learning how to have confidence in God as a way to help you create the life that He desires for you, rather than focusing on the world, like on the worldly possessions. That's what I'm picking up on. You gotta let go of the worldly stuff in order to have the kind of relationship that you're truly seeking and desiring. It's not gonna come from the outside in. It has to come from the inside out. So what I'm getting is like this strategy also too, why this is in reverse, is like it's giving you time to really reevaluate, okay, what is cornucopia to me? Because this is a card of abundance to me. This is like all your dreams coming true. This is everything you've ever wanted, like just, manifesting and feeling very like prosperous. But coming in reverse, like I said, I think it's just about recognizing what it is that brings you abundance. Maybe you thought it was going to be a job, or maybe you thought it was going to be lots of money in your bank account, but really what it is love is abundance, or family is abundance. Maybe it has nothing to do with a price tag. So it's like really reevaluating your beliefs around stability, and that's also why I feel like the Hangman is here and the King of Pentacles, because it's reevaluating your beliefs around stability and the material world and money. And I know for me, I have really fucked up beliefs around money because of my childhood. I grew up, like I said, in poverty consciousness, so it's really hard for me to imagine and to get to this place, this Nine of Pentacles, where it's like, oh yeah, like I'm wealthy. And it's like not about wealth. Wealth does not come from outside. Like I said, you have to feel wealthy inside. So all these pentacles, like I was saying, tending to your garden is really tending to your mind. So every time your mind wants to go to those places where it's like, I'm not good enough, and you hear those stories playing in your head, you have to really become aware. It's about a self-awareness. Like I was saying, it's about self-mastery. And as you begin to plant new seeds in your mind, you begin to reap new, a brand new harvest, a harvest of abundance. So if you're focusing your mind on all that you have, and you're focused on gratitude, and you're grateful, even if it's the littlest things. I mean, if it's the tiniest things, there's always something to be grateful for. Your mind can want to search, and you want to compare yourself. It's another thing I'm picking up on, is people are comparing themselves to other people and their path. It's like, your path is so different, and you cannot compare your path to somebody else, otherwise you will be drained. Constantly, you gotta stay focused on your own lane. Even if people don't agree with the things you're doing, it's like, even if you're going in a new direction and people are questioning it and they feel insecure about it, you have to be strong in your own knowing. That's why I said it's really important to have your why. If you believe you came here to create a lot of stability so that you can give back, you have to be strong in your why. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for fame? Are you doing it for status? Are you doing it because you want people to think that you are high and mighty? It's like, no. When you're in when you're in a connection with God, you will never feel high and mighty. I mean, you will, but you'll be humbled by it. Like you'll feel like you have absolutely nothing, but you still feel worthy. And like that's such a weird experience for me, because I have almost nothing. Some people would consider that I have nothing. They would consider me a loser. They would consider me like, but for me, I don't see myself like that, because I've tended to my garden. And I know my worth doesn't come from having a job. My worth doesn't come from having a huge bank account. My worth does not come from having a huge house. My worth does not come from those things. My worth doesn't come from being in a relationship. My worth comes from my own beliefs. My worth comes from God. And so when you know that your worth comes from that, then you feel eternally loved, and you feel eternally supported. And it totally drastically changes your self-image. It changes the people you attract in your life. So what else about this cornucopia in reverse, Spirit? walking away, number 9. This just confirms what I was feeling. It's like walking away from those beliefs about, what money is and what material wealth is. That's just what I'm picking up on. It's like somebody is so, like maybe you're so fixated on like a physical relationship, or you're so fixated on like the outside world. Like I said, I don't know, I'm just picking up like somebody is so focused on that they're like completely off their path. That's why the cornucopia is in reverse, because it's like you're too focused on the outside. And that's not the path. The path will always be inside. You have to go inside. That's why this is why this card came up. Like I said, and that's when you feel endlessly supplied. Yeah, so in the book, this says like walking away from not just like material things. It's not about like walking away and being like, oh, willy-nilly, like I fucked up. Like I did that. I just walked away. I didn't have a strategy at all. So I'm not saying that I'm perfect at all. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I choose to believe that every mistake I've made has been for my growth. I had so many lessons to learn around like stability and money and associating money with my worth, and not having money for almost like 2 years, like not a lot of money. I get money every now and then here and there from like jobs or for like my birthday or for Christmas or something, but like not having that money, like not associating that with how valuable I am or how lovable I am has really been the hardest thing. And I had to really cultivate new thoughts in my mind. Otherwise, I would feel, like I said, I would feel alone, I would feel neglected, I would feel betrayed right now if it wasn't for my angels and my guides that helped me to change these beliefs and walk away from these old limiting beliefs that were keeping me stuck, and keeping me from my cornucopia. So, yeah, okay, I like that there. Yeah, just walking away from any like bad habits. It's just like maybe you're like, maybe you are just trying to take care of yourself right now and trying to end your bad habits. And it's hard. Like if you have bad habits, like I know for me, like eating was a really bad habit. Or I just think negatively. Like that's kind of just how I was raised. I was very pessimistic. And so changing my thought patterns, every time I wanted to focus on fear or conflict, because conflict is how we create barriers, how we push people away, I have to focus on God. So I have to go to prayer. I have to go to like, I'll repeat like affirmations, or I'll just begin writing like things like I'm having a conversation with God, and like as I'm writing, He'll respond through me. And then I can go back and look. That's like soul writing to me. Just allowing Spirit to kind of like channel through you and move through you to help you see what it is that you are capable of. Like I know that I am limitless, but this was a really hard habit for me to break, because I used to believe I was trapped. I used to believe I was stuck and that like, I wasn't good enough. But you have to like walk away from those beliefs, because that's a lie. That's society telling you you're not enough. That's society telling you that you have to have like all these things in order to be worthy of like success, or it's just not true. Okay, what else what is going on with the Hanged Man here? Okay, we did have an archangel show up, but she came up in reverse. This is Archangel Ariel. She's the second chakra, so the sacral chakra. This is related to creativity. It's related to intimacy. It's related to codependency, because when it comes in reverse, it's codependency. It's like addictions and fears of intimacy. So I'm getting at like seeing your intimacy wounds from like a different perspective, like taking a step back and being like, okay, I see where I push away intimacy here. I see where I avoid intimacy. I see where, I see where these are stemming from. That's what it kind of feels like. Or like what I'm picking up on also is like you're seeing your addictions from a different perspective, whereas like you may have had addictions, and then every time you like drank or every time you overate or something, like you shame yourself, because this chakra is also related to shame, and shame is useless. Shame will keep us stuck, and when this chakra is stuck, we feel stagnant, we feel frustrated, we feel angry, we feel lackluster, we feel bored. I felt this way a lot as a child. So it's like really igniting your passions. It's like reevaluating what makes you truly happy. Maybe we thought like having a home and having a family and having a relationship and having lots of money, or we thought traveling was really going to bring us happiness and bring us joy. But what we're seeing is like those things don't bring us joy until we feel joy within ourselves. And so, really getting back to your creativity, this is connecting with source energy. This is where you connect to gratitude. This is the chakra that you connect to where you feel endlessly supplied. So if this one's blocked, then you're going to feel really depleted. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel like I can't go on. And you're going to want to numb. Like I was saying, with the things going on in the world, it's going to make you want to numb out. It's going to make you want to like avoid your feelings at all costs, because the feelings of the emotions that are happening right now on the planet are intense. But they're important to reunite us with God. They are full of wisdom. We've just been taught to focus on the material world and neglect our emotional selves. But when we do that, we're burned out and we're tired. And we feel like we can't accomplish our goals. And that's really sad, because it just keeps us stuck in this cycle of lack and like victim mentality. Okay. What else with Archangel Ariel? You can always call upon her too. I love her energy. What are some things you can do to heal your sacral chakra? Eating orange food, I love. Sometimes I'm really drawn to orange food. I'm also picking up on like you could be creating illnesses or diseases in your body, especially if you're a woman. Things like PCOS, kidney infections, yeast infections, like anything associated with like the sexual organs at all. So if you've had any like, this could be like sexual abuse, this could be like rape, any of those things where the womb has been abused. And you could, even if this didn't happen to you, it's really important because you can carry this through like your parents, like your mother wound or your father wound. And you might not even know these like things have happened to your parents. That's why it's important to like dig deeper into your family history so that you can heal these wounds. Because there's been a lot of women on this planet that their womb has been abused. If not in this lifetime, then in past. I've had a past lifetime where I was raped, and it was so traumatic that like I carried that trauma with me. We carry trauma in our bodies, in our emotional body. So if we didn't allow ourselves to feel a certain emotion, or we blocked it out because there was so much trauma, then that trauma and that emotion stays in our body. And we can cause a lot of pain in our body, which also makes us want to numb out with like drugs or alcohol or food. You know, we want to avoid at all costs the feelings of pain or trauma that we're storing in our bodies. And then also, like, if you have any, like, trauma towards the sexual energy, this could really affect your ability to be intimate, like, sexually intimate and, like, close to other people. Because every time maybe you get close or, like, your sexual, like, a lot of people that have sexual trauma will want to use, like, alcohol or drugs before they can have sex. Because they can't have sex from a conscious state because they have so many wounds towards it that they can't enjoy it because they're in a different place. They're not even in their bodies to enjoy the intimacy or to enjoy the touch. Or if you were physically abused and you have a lot of like pain associated with touch, like if you were like physically hit, or this may make you have a lot of fears when you get close to another person, they touch you, then you might feel like scared. But you have to see that those are coming from a wound. You know, see it from a different perspective. Those are coming from a wound. And then you have to be able to calm yourself in those moments. Like you have to tell your inner child, I have to always make sure my inner child is feeling at peace. My job is to take care of my inner child, honestly. And we do that by like really getting in touch with our creation energy again. So doing the things that create a lot of passion or that make us feel passionate, because when we feel passion, you know, we heal our sexual energy, not only through that, but also when we're in relationship, then if we're filling ourselves with passion and we're filling ourselves with love and we're filling ourselves with romance, then we're going to be able to give it to other people without needing them, you know, and like then you create like harmony in your relationships. And then as you begin to treat your partner like that with passion and romance, you know, they're going to begin to treat you in that same way because you're teaching them how to love you. You're teaching them how to treat you. But if you're like blocked, this can make you very cold. This can make you very blocked off. This can make you very like lonely because you're disconnected from yourself. So you could feel very abandoned. It's like, it's only because you're disconnected from your source energy, because you have wounds or trauma towards it. So instead of masking it with addictions, it's like doing the work to walk away from these, you know, limiting beliefs or these bad habits that keep you bound or keep you stuck or keep you feeling like, keep you from intimacy, which is what you truly want, or keep you from closeness, or keep you from the relationship you want, or the money you want to make, because the sacral chakra is related to making money. It's related to like, it's the energy of abundance, so giving and receiving. That's what the sacral chakra is to me. And when that chakra is really healthy, then you're flowing. You don't feel stuck, and then your energies, because it's your second chakra, so it's able to move up into your higher chakras and you're able to connect with source. But if that energy's stuck and you're not allowing yourself to feel that, one of the greatest ways to get your energy moving is through cardio or through dance or through like moving your body in any way. One of the hardest things to do is cultivate the energy of like stability and cultivate the energy of empowerment and create the energy of passion and joy and excitement. It's so much easier to wallow in self-pity and to create that energy of like victimhood. And you could like, it's so much easier to lay in your bed and cry than it is to get up and move your body, you know. So it takes initiative, it takes action. What else there with the second chakra in reverse? Okay, all tied up. Also a 5 card. 3 + 2 is 5. Yeah, it's like, exactly. Just confirming, like I was saying, it kind of makes you feel tied up. It makes you feel blocked. It makes you feel stuck. But you're not stuck and you're not trapped. It's victim consciousness. When your sacral chakra is in reverse, it's most likely victim consciousness. Maybe you were a victim in some way, especially sexually. Sexual abuse is a huge thing that keeps people from intimacy, even if they don't realize it. Or they're just avoiding it. But this is what's keeping you feeling bound or tied or trapped or stuck in any way. It's just that chakra, it's just that energy. As soon as you heal that energy and you do the work to create new beliefs around your sexual energy and create new beliefs around, you know, relationships and understanding your addictions and understanding your wounding, then you see things from a different perspective and you free yourself. You enlighten yourself. And you have more compassion for yourself. And once you have compassion for yourself, you really free yourself. You don't feel tied or trapped down by your shame anymore. You know, shame keeps us stuck. There's no shame. Maybe you were very promiscuous. But maybe our society taught this, both men or women. So take this as it resonates. If you're a man watching this, you were probably taught to be promiscuous, to use your sexual energy, and maybe you feel a lot of shame about this. Or maybe a woman. Maybe you were taught, a lot of women have been taught, give your shit away, because a man won't stay with you unless you have sex with them. We've been taught that. That's crazy. I know that I had a lot of like emotions come up about that recently, like, why did I do that, you know, and like not shaming yourself, taking a deeper look, allowing yourself to take a step back and be like, okay, I understand why I was doing that, because, you know, I thought, you know, I'll sleep with this man because then that'll make him stay. A lot of women have been taught that, you know, if I give them what they want, then they'll stay, then they'll love me, you know, and it's just a very distorted way of using your sexual energy. That's manipulation. Okay, and then underneath I love it because Archangel Michael came up underneath the deck, but he's in reverse. So this is saying that you don't feel stable, you don't feel grounded, you don't feel connected, you don't feel like you belong. You're feeling very disconnected from the earth. It's really important to create a relationship with the earth, because that's also connecting us to our feminine energy. So you could garden, you could go for a run outside, you could have flowers in your home, you could get plants in your home, you could eat foods that are only vegetables. I'm hearing that people need to go vegetarian. There's also a card there. Or need to incorporate, even if it's not completely 100% vegetarian, it's like incorporating more fruits and vegetables so you feel very connected to earth, like nourishing your body. You know, another thing that we've been taught to put on the back burner for material possessions and material gain is our health. And this is a huge mission for me because I was super unhealthy. My grandfather, he had a lot of material wealth, but he was unhealthy. And so he missed out on half of his life because he was so consumed with the material world that he neglected his health, he neglected his family, he neglected love, you know. And as his granddaughter, you know, it's like, I want to balance that out because it's awesome to have that. He was a really powerful and successful entrepreneur, but he put all those things aside, and I think we've been taught those things, and it's like, then we miss out, then we don't even get to enjoy our abundance, and we don't even get to enjoy what we created because we spent our whole life. Okay, what I'm seeing is like people want this like fast rise, like they want it to happen overnight, or, you know, they want it to happen right now, but really what I'm getting is it's going to happen over your lifetime, over a period of lifetime. You create this. It doesn't have to happen like, can you create a lot of stability and a lot of money quickly? Yeah, sure, but is it always done with integrity? So it's like really getting clear on what you want. Do you want fast and quick, or do you want longevity? Like, that's in my opinion, because our society is very like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you know? Like ego gratification, that's what our society is about. But what we're really learning and what the paradigm shift is all about is to not focus so much on the short term, but more the long term. So making decisions that aren't only going to impact your life, in a healthy way, but also impact the planet. So it's really important to nourish yourself and take care of yourself. Like, don't put those things, like, don't put your healing, like your healing of your sacral chakra and your healing of your heart on the back burner just so you can have stability or have money, because you'll create more stability if you heal those aspects within yourself rather than pushing them away. You know, our society and our country, we've shoved so many things under the rug. I mean, the rug is like a big old mansion now because we've shoved so many things underneath it. And we're just like, nah, no, we don't want to deal with these. You know, and that's why we keep repeating history. That's why there's still so much violence. That's why there's still so much hatred. There's so much separation and inequality, injustice, you know, because we just sweep things under the rug instead of dealing with them and saying, hey, we really fucked up. You know, we really fucked up. The things we did were wrong. And those are things we have to have that conversation, not just with the country and like the things we've done, but also with ourselves. Like, hey, shit, I fucked up, you know, and I got to do better. Like, I can do better. And you have to tell yourself that I can. Because if you constantly tell yourself, I can't, I have so much shame, you know, like I'm wrong, I'm a bad person. It's just like, no, you made mistakes because society fucked up your mind, because you were brainwashed to live a certain way that was actually not in alignment with your soul at all. So be easy on yourself. As much as I get kind of like into it and like, because I believe that like my, you know, what I have to say is really important, and I do believe in like being very honest and straightforward, but I also know that you have to be compassionate and gentle with yourself. Because there's like this part of me that's like super masculine and super like feels very in charge of my life, you know, that's more of your masculine energy, but then there's also this aspect of me that's very feminine and very gentle and, you know, very nurturing. When we have both of those together, we create stability within ourselves because our energy is balanced. Okay, what do we need to know with this door to spirit? Violet flame. Yes, this is one of my favorite cards from this deck. This talks about like the destruction of things, like endings and new beginnings, like allowing yourself to be purified by the flames, by the fire, by the rage maybe. And this will open the door to spirit. What else was strategy? Union. Love this. So this is like, I was saying this isn't just a union of like people or like a relationship. This is also like a union with God. I always see it like that, because if you don't see it like that first, then you'll probably, you know, you'll end up disappointed a lot. If this is the like path you were meant to be on, and you're like meant to be calling in this sort of like love and stuff, then it's like you can't get fixated on the outside too much. Because like I said, it's about an inner union. And as you come into inner union with your own soul, and that's what I feel like the violet flame is here. It's like in a spirit, and the door to spirit that's in reverse. As you allow things to end and die and burn up, then you come into union. Like, you'll have to surrender so much that all you have left is to rely on God. And then that's how you'll form your strategy, it feels like. Because like I said, you can't like manipulate or force, you know, any kind of like I was saying, like, especially women, our job is to embody the energy of union. So feeling very connected to our soul is feeling, and then that makes us very attractive. What about this cornucopia in reverse, spirit? Fairy magic. Yes, I love this. This is one of my favorite cards too, because this is telling you to lighten up and play and have some fun and sing and dance and turn on some music and shake it off. And and it's coming with cornucopia in reverse, and I just feel like I said, you might be too focused on the outside world, too focused on the material world, that you get like kind of serious and super focused, and you forget to have fun, and you forget to play. But your inner child needs to come out and have some fun. And actually, it's our inner child that, like, to me, generates the most abundance, because, you know, they live in the present moment. What else with fairy magic? And walking away. Recognition. So this is funny, because maybe walking away from this idea of like I need to be recognized by like my peers, or like I need to be like, this is a card of like wanting to be like validated, or, you know, this is saying that you could be recognized like publicly, or you could be recognized in a larger way, on a larger scale. But with walking away, it feels like I don't know, I feel like the recognition comes from like this playfulness, from this ability to be lighthearted. And that's actually what creates your stability, rather than finances. You know, we think that finances in a home is what creates stability, and that's how we feel stable. But what if you lost everything? Would you still feel stable? Would you still feel worthy? I mean, you have to ask yourself those questions. And probably not. That's why it's important to lighten up and have some fun. Knowing that, like, You will be like recognized for your efforts, it feels like. Like I have to be scared that like people think that I'm just like, because I create, like I like to dance and sing along. I like to be very childlike, because if I didn't, like I said, I would feel, like I was losing everything. So, maybe a lot of people feel like they're losing everything, but really we're just losing things to make space for something new. But it can be hard because we want to cling, we want to cling to what's familiar, we want to cling to what we know because it feels safe. But sometimes, things that feel safe are actually very harmful to us, like those bad habits or those unhealthy relationships or, okay, what else there? What do we need to know with Archangel Ariel in reverse? Gifted. Yes, I love this with the sacral chakra because like I was saying, this is where like we create. It's our creation energy. That's what Archangel Ariel is all about. So you are truly gifted. Like as you unlock this sacral chakra, as you unblock it by doing things that, make you feel good, by finding your joy, by, playing, by being grateful and practicing gratitude, you'll like recognize your gifts. It feels like you're focused on like all that you don't have or all that you're not, like it's like really focusing on your strengths and focusing on what makes you you, because you are gifted, whether you've been told that or not. Maybe you've shared your gifts. This could be anything. This could be any talent, from like music to writing to anything. Those are just two things that I can think of right off the top of my head. But whatever your talent is, you could be very highly intuitive. You could be a medium. You could, maybe you like shared your gifts with like, I don't know, maybe you were a young child and you shared your gifts, but those gifts weren't like reciprocated, or they weren't like validated, or they weren't honored, and so you begin to think of them as more of a flaw. So when you're focused on your flaws, that's all you're going to see in the outside world. It's all you're going to see in other people are their flaws. But if you're focused on your gifts and you're focused on your talents and you're focused on how much you love yourself, then that's what you're going to see in the world, and that's what you're going to see in other people. What else with gifted here? Innocence. Yes, I love it. Like I was saying, like inner child wounding, especially with the sacral chakra, as you get more in tune to that aspect of yourself, you find your joy, you find your passion, you find your innocence, you find your gifts, because that's our purity. That's when we're children, that's who we are at our purest sense, so that's who God created us to be, and that's where our gifts lie. But a lot of us have been taught to push our gifts away in order to have stability. Oh, and I love underneath the deck, integrity. And I was saying that, like, you have to have your why, and you have to do it from a place of integrity, and then underneath that is music. So music might be important to you. You might really enjoy music. Music might be healing. It came with fairy magic. You may write music. You may be a musician. You may play an instrument. I love that. Yeah, and then we have simplicity. So, like, keeping things simple, like I was saying, like, minimalism, like, you don't need big houses, you don't need lots of fancy things, keep it simple, minimize, get rid of some of your stuff. As you clear out your, like, physical space, you clear up mental space as well. Underneath that is feline. So, really tapping into your inner strength, tapping into that power within yourself. I always love the feline energy. And then underneath that is voice. So, really using your voice, really, like, speaking your truth, really sharing your gifts, even if your voice shakes. Even if, like, I remember when I first started to, like, share my truth, I would freak out, like, I don't mean in a sense, like, I would, like, freak out, but I would, like, I couldn't breathe, like, my breathing would become very heavy, and I would sweat a lot, and, I just remember feeling so uncomfortable when I first began to share my truth. Like, I would just get, like, very overwhelmed, and I could feel the tightness in my throat chakra, so that's another thing you can pay attention to. Whenever you want to share your truth, or like you want to speak your truth, or like just noticing when your throat begins to tighten up, because that's where there's some healing. All right, and then I'm going to use the chakra insights because I like the chakras and I work with the archangel, so let's see what the overall message is here, and I'm going to read it from the book. What is your overall message for us, Spirit and archangels? Take this one. Ooh, I love this. This is one of my favorite ones. Okay, so we got love, and this is number 24, and it says kindness, benevolence, sharing, and receiving. And I love the dog. You might have like a dog in spirit that's guiding you. Dogs represent loyalty to me. They represent like happiness and joy and innocence. They're so sweet. So, aw, I'm just picking up on a really great energy from them. And I love, it's the heart chakra, so Archangel Raphael coming in strong there. And you might work closely with animals is what I'm getting, or like animals might be part of your purpose. I'm feeling like women, children, and animals are like a lot of people's purpose right now, and they're really being called to help in any way that they can. But they have to get in tune to their own inner child and their own feminine energy and their own innocence. Okay, number 24, and I'll be done. By awakening your true love of self, you ignite your ability to give and receive true love in your world. Love is the most healing, harmonizing, and awakening energy to ever move through our bodies. When we are able to truly give and receive love with no attachment, we ignite an inner flame within ourselves that energizes and illuminates every aspect of our life. This card encourages you to experience yourself giving, not because of what you will receive in return, but for the profound pleasure of giving. This simple act of sharing a smile or a hug with someone, making or giving a gift without a special occasion, offering a thoughtful word or a quiet listening ear in a time of unexpected need, these are all acts of love. What we often fail to realize is that the love we most seek to experience, the love that radiates divinity, is a love that comes from deep within ourselves. This card encourages unconditional self-love, not just loving ourselves when we have won the race or lost the weight, got the job or bought the house, but in each moment just for being who we are. Exactly. Through self-love, we will naturally find ourselves giving and receiving in ways that we never could have imagined. Learn to love yourself for all of your colors, strength, flaws, and emotions. I was totally feeling that too. In your lightness and your shadow. Love yourself enough to care about what you eat, who you spend time with, how you look and feel each day. Show yourself love by allowing yourself to enjoy life and have some fun. That's totally the fairy magic. Love yourself for just being you. Do not wait another moment before allowing yourself to experience this great elixir. It is through your true love of self that you open the pathway to experience love on all levels in your life. Wherever you are on the path, know that love is a choice presenting itself in each moment. By awakening true self-love, you ignite your ability to give and receive true love in your world. Live in love. Oh, that just felt so perfect. I feel like that was the perfect message for this reading. It went overall well. So it's like our focus needs to be more on love and less on material gain. Focus more on love, focus more on spirit, and less on the logical mind, less on the physical, which seems very contradicting, but as we strengthen inside, things outside begin to solidify and strengthen. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I do private readings, so if you would like a private reading from me, you can go ahead and just follow me on Instagram. My prices are listed on my bio. I'll leave all that information below, so you can just go ahead and check that out. Follow me there for more content. And I hope this was helpful. I'm sending you so much love.